Joining us on the broadcast is Major Mohammed Ali Shah, who's a defence expert. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. It's the Festival of Lights today. People across the country are celebrating, they're sharing their joy and elation. The Jawans on the border, of course, still remain ever vigilant, and Prime Minister Modi honouring their valour by spending time with them. It's his tradition for the last 9 years to do so. There are visuals that have come from Lepcha in Himachal Pradesh today. So what do you make of all of this?
Leadership is always, it comes from top. So our Prime Minister, as a tradition, he celebrates every Diwali with our brave hearts, with our brave soldiers, wherever he can. So most certainly, I'll tell you a small experience in the year 2003, in fact, exactly 20 years back, when I was posted at the line of control and I was just 30 meters away from the Pakistani post. At that time, one of the soldiers from a neighboring post got wounded. And when he was wounded by the enemy fire, the commanding officer of that battalion came there to have a look at him on ground. And suddenly the buzz went around that CO Saab is here, CO Saab aa gaye, CO Saab aa gaye. And this Jawan who was wounded, he suddenly sprung up. He got up on his 2 feet. He saluted the commanding officer and he said, Jai Hind Sahab! So that was the josh, the vigor. What happened? What got into him? When he saw the leadership coming there personally to meet and greet him, to check his welfare, to check how he was doing, even though he was wounded so badly. So when the top leadership comes and meets them on ground and sees how they are doing, and they see by themselves, and if you shake a leg with them, it means a lot to them. If you are there, you eat sweets with them, you exchange pleasantries, you tell them, you are our family. It means a lot. There's a quote which says, when you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. So, most certainly, when the Prime Minister goes there on ground, it increases the morale of our troops. It conveys a message loud and clear across the borders, across the 7 seas. Also, that our Prime Minister is standing there with us, totally with us. He is there because our Jawans, our brave soldiers, our officers, they spend their Diwali away from their families in the most difficult terrain, in the most difficult time, in terrains where it's practically impossible to reach. Impossible. You can be a millionaire, you cannot reach in those places, which our brave Jawans, our brave soldiers, our officers, they endure and they fight against all odds. There's an oath which we take in the army on leadership again, which says, the safety, honor, welfare of your country come first, always and every time. The honor, welfare and comfort of the men you command comes next. Your own ease, comfort and safety comes last, always and every time. There's a quote again at almost every war cemetery, every war memorial, I would say, which says, how can a man die better than facing fearful odds? For the ashes of his fathers in the temple of his gods. So most certainly, our brave soldiers are to be honored, who spend the most difficult times in the trenches away from their families.
Indeed. Last word to Major Shah before we take this discussion forward.
Thank you, Pia. I just want to say one last thing, which is a message to the entire country.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I don't know why your PCR had put me on mute. Anyhow, so one small last word for the whole nation, that you celebrated festivals with lights, music, fireworks, firecrackers on festivals. Well, my soldiers celebrated festivals in underground bunkers and underground trenches, and they are playing with their lives. So with that note, and I really appreciate our Prime Minister going there and boosting their morale. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
All right, with that, I would like to thank all the guests for joining us on the broadcast.